You're tuning in to Past Our Prime,
a show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
Welcome to Past Our Prime. We're with Tip, Dan, our super producer Max over there. And we got some things to get to today. We have an interview coming up with James Henderson, who is the president and head coach of the North Texas Devils of the U.S. AFL.
People might ask what that is, Dan.
I thought you were going to ask what that is.
Well, United States, Australian.
Aussie.
Aussie.
I don't know if it's Aussie.
Aussie Football League.
Aussie.
It is intense stuff. The videos are outrageously, I wonder if I could do it. I couldn't do it.
No.
So we've got a conversation with them, which is going to be fun. We're going to have some fun with that.
Just to give an overview, one of our Squad Locker teammates, and by the way, we're have a somewhat of a live studio audience today.
Yeah. There's a dozen people out there in the office.
You know, some people are coming back to work safely, mind you.
Socially distant.
Socially distant. Masked, following the rules.
Temperature gauge coming in the office.
Yep.
We're following the rules.
Doing all the right things here at Squad Locker, okay? People are coming back. They're walking by the studio, peeking in just to see what's going on.
They're waiting outside for autographs.
They might be.
Yeah, they're waiting outside for us to sign autographs.
One of our team members had forwarded us an email of this Aussie Football League. I assumed it was just rugby. I was wrong.
Oh, we were both wrong.
Very wrong. And when you look at this and you watch it, you can YouTube it, you can Google, maybe we can put something up there, link up there, Max, for the listeners. It is a pretty cool sport, and it involves a lot of different abilities that you get from, or that you acquire or you learn from mainstream sports, basketball, height,
That's
kicking,
what it seems
soccer.
like. That's what
a
it
lot
seems
of
like.
different things and abilities go into this sport. And it's pretty cool. So we're excited to talk to James today about that. See
They
where
don't
that's
know this,
going.
but we're going to make them team of the week.
Oh,
We have a team of the week coming up, and they're going to be the team of the week. So
nice
just
of you to
it's
do.
good, and that's what Squad Locker. We're getting busy in here, Max.
Yeah,
We got people coming in. We got Little League starting, softball starting, lacrosse starting. These are our sports at Squad Locker. We do a ton with, right? We do a ton with lots of sports, but it seems like baseball season always feels like, okay, sports are starting again. Like these people are playing. Let's go. We're shipping uniforms direct to home. Like, we're making it happen. So, we're excited about it.
I've learned
Feels busy again.
I've learned a lot. And, with the youth sports that we do, the high schools that we do, the businesses that we do as well. But specifically for these sports, the sublimated uniforms that we have now.
Whew. Boy, what a topic.
Did you
know that term before?
I did not. I did not.
I actually remember Dan early on said sublimated.
Yeah.
Max.
Spell it.
Actually, spell it. You want me to spell it? Sublimated.
Spell it out.
SUBLIMATED.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah, you're
sublimated?
thinking sublimated.
I was thinking sublimated or sublimating.
No.
I was putting the
Sublimation?
ing on the end.
We do sublimated one-off uniforms direct to home. Nobody else does it. We do it. It's awesome.
And fun little
important.
fact for the viewers here: if you have camps, if you have businesses, and you're in need of shirts.
Oh,
a lot of
direct-to-garment
shirts.
printing.
DTG is what I like to call it.
Yeah, Dan's learning the terms, Max.
Can you spell that one out?
DTG.
No, ask him what that means. He didn't know. Direct-to-garment. He does
I
not
do
know.
now. I do.
He does now.
But that is just that's ink, right?
Yeah, we don't want you to learn too much because then we're going to have to pay you for 2 hours a week. So right now we got you for one. We don't want to have to pay you for two. Don't learn too many terms. The reason that we're talking about is to start, football's over.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot happening right now. NCAA basketball will ramp up with March Madness. Then spring training baseball leads you right into opening day. So it's coming. Derby.
Oh, Derby.
That's a Masters.
But it's one. It's the problem with the Derby is just one day.
I mean, I'm not going to research horses except for the day
and if you're
before.
not going to go, the race days down there are phenomenal. You got the Oaks on Friday, and it's probably 12 races on Friday.
Yep. Do you remember all 12 races?
No.
How many races do you get? How many mint juleps do you have? Is that what the drink is of choice?
Those things are gas. Those things are
You can have 1.5.
Straight gas.
Yeah,
and,
1.5.
I like to do maybe a Tito's and soda. maybe a Tito's and water, because then you're hydrating while you're dehydrating yourself. So
Yes.
you're sort of staying level.
Yep.
I like to do that a little bit. And then you got 12 on Saturday. Obviously, the big one, post time's probably around 6:30 for the Derby on a Saturday. A lot of fun. But if you're not going to the race, you're not watching all those races. So you're watching 2 minutes, and it's a great time. You're going to wear a hat. Nice
Over
hat
quick.
at home.
Over
Kids
real
love
quick.
it. It's fun, but it's over quick.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, so when I was playing, you couldn't wait till the football season to get over with, right? It's a long season, grueling, watching a lot of film. The last thing you want to watch is football. My brother always used to say, like, oh, man, football's over.
Yeah, what do you do now?
How many days till the preseason? They just want to watch football. I never got it until about 2 years ago when you're out long enough. Then you become a fan. That hangover for when football is over is real.
And it's not overdone where there's so many games. You have the weekend, really. Right? I mean, now they've stretched it into Thursday night football, Monday night football. But it's like with baseball, there's a game every night.
Yep.
Every team. So, like, literally, it's nonstop. Like, you can watch tons. Basketball, same kind of way, right? It's not every night, but there's a lot on. Football is like, you think of it in weeks, right? Week 1, week 2, week 3. All of a sudden, the weeks are out. There's no more weeks.
No more weeks.
We saw a trophy get thrown off a boat into another boat, which was pretty amazing.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I thought it was hilarious, and I mean, there's not a lot that guy can do that I don't like. But
True. Yeah.
But threw the trophy off the boat. The daughter.
The daughter of the
maker of the trophy,
the designer, the original
designer of the trophy.
original designer for Tiffany's, his daughter
was upset.
She couldn't sleep
That's what she said in the interview.
for a couple nights.
Yeah, she could not sleep, and because the trophy was disrespected. And my thought on that is, do not send her a video of what happens to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that thing is probably disrespected also.
The other thing is, too, why wouldn't she talk about this, 2 years ago? When did Gronk take a baseball bat to it?
He bunted a ball with the trophy and put a huge dent in it.
Yeah.
So this is a Brady attack.
I don't think it's necessarily a Brady attack.
It's a something attack.
Why would she do that?
I don't know.
I think-
Attention.
Look, and I think Jason Licht, L-I-C-H-T, liked. Jason, he was in New England before.
Jason L.
The GM for Tampa.
Jason L.
actually responded on Twitter, which was kind of classic. Just relax.
Ooh, relax.
Take it easy. Take a breath. And I think I can see where she's upset.
Yeah.
This is the holy grail. You work your whole life, the whole season to get this trophy. You don't want to see anything bad happen to it. But that being said, you want to have some fun too.
Yeah,
and
what if that ended up in the water? It would be hilarious.
They're not going to lose it.
No,
right?
they could have done a video of scuba diving, find it down there. There's a treasure box down there. I was thinking about it, Max. I was like, if that went in, you're telling me they wouldn't have done something hilarious with that? It would have been awesome. I thought that was a good time. Just have a good time on the boats.
It's just 10 feet. He can make it.
Yeah, it's fine. And there was no question he was going to complete that pass. So, that's fine. So, football's over. We said March Madness is coming up. This is when I start tuning into college basketball. Dan.
Yep.
Just starting to get
NBA?
the mind ready. I start tuning into NBA when the Celtics are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's around the time. I'll tune in. It's strange without fans. The other thing that was weird, were we watching this or was I watching this with somebody else? We were watching a basketball game, and the bench was all spread out.
Oh.
People were all... Who was I watching this with?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
It wasn't me, but all even college and pro, they're 6 feet apart. They're spacing on the sideline.
They're all tested.
Correct.
So what are they doing on the bench all spaced out? It didn't make any sense to me.
When they're an inch apart on the floor, you're saying?
Well, yeah, they're literally subbing into the game and then boxing out.
Sweat flying everywhere.
But then when they go back to the bench, they're like, okay, I'm sitting here, somebody's sitting there, somebody's sitting there. It's like you could put the bench together, I think. Maybe it's just optics. They just don't want to be like, oh, these people, are together. We can spread them out maybe. I don't know. It could be
I think it's just another one of those things with COVID going on. It's like one of those things that just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
You can do this, but you can't do that. Mm-hmm. One of those. You can, every one of our listeners, or whoever's listening to this show right now, maybe 5 now,
We might be up to 10.
maybe 10,
Yeah, we might be up to 10.
has those things where it's going to school or going to work, and it's just like, well, I can do this, but I can't do that. That just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah, that's true.
You're just trying to figure it out as
It's
you go.
tricky.
And you're right. Optics probably plays a little
Yeah.
bit of a role into that. Hey, look at us. We're following the rules.
Yeah,
But you can go in and play man-to-man defense, and
absolutely. It's strange. You did mention water. I think you said Tito's and water earlier.
I did.
Speaking of water, I was going to segue then, Max, but pro move, I waited.
Master of segues.
I waited, right? Two things with water coming up, right? We've been drinking a lot of water
a lot.
because we've been pounding the miles on the old Peloton challenge. We got people following us. I have some messages that are like, thank you for inspiring me to ride the bike again.
Shut up.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I will send you a couple messages I have like, you guys prompted me to
please?
get the bike out.
No
yeah,
way.
we'll post it. I'll send you some that I have that are like, people are getting interested.
I've gotten new followers. I haven't gotten one
I've
like,
got
hey,
followers.
thanks for inspiring me to be a better person.
They're coming. They're coming. They'll be there. We are pounding some miles, Max, in terms of like the Peloton challenge.
So we talked about, do you want to just lay out what's going to happen?
Yes, that's what I was getting
So
to.
this
So
is
the other part
official.
of the water is jumping in the water
Oh, that part.
Okay.
Makes sense.
on March 1st. This is what the bet was. So if we never have explained this well enough, this is what it is. So Dan and I are doing the Peloton ride challenge. Many miles as you can. He's beating me by 100 miles right now.
140.
No, well, I'm going to ride 40 tonight, so it's 100 basically.
140, right?
What he doesn't realize
I'm
is
just-
there's,
it's-
there's 48 hours in the last weekend. I can ride 20 miles an hour,
No, you
and
can't.
that's 960. So I'm never out of the fight. Never out of the fight.
28-3.
That's right. Never out of the fight. That's
fine,
exactly
but
right.
I'm not the
Max.
Falcons.
Yeah, I know, but you are I will give you this. Dan is a worthy competitor. He is tough. He's hard-headed, and he doesn't want to lose. And sometimes you forget that there's that gear in some athletes, and he's got the gear. So this is going to be a little tougher than I thought, but I'm going to try to catch you.
A little tougher than you thought.
I'm riding my butt off right now. I actually bought the extra pad for the seat because I'm starting to get a little saddle soreness.
I have that chamois butter or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah, you got me some.
I did. That
Yeah,
was a
you
nice
bought me
present.
some. That was a good gesture.
I have gone through a bottle of that already.
Oh, wow.
I am just lathering myself with it. This morning, I mean, I've gotten on, it's, just a little half over the
Yeah, a little
month
over
February.
half. Yep.
So February 13th, right around there, I'm thinking like, okay, I just got to get to the 14th. I'm halfway through.
Yep.
And I was
Halfway.
probably at like I think I was like maybe a little bit below 500 miles at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the 14th. I rode
60 miles.
40, 50, 60 miles or something like that. And then I realized like, shit, I'm not even halfway yet.
I know. It's a lot.
This is a problem. And then you went on and did like 45 last night, which really annoyed me because I thought I could pull ahead a little bit on the weekend.
I'm not going to let you leave me. Not going to let it.
And I'm at 640 right now, and I don't think I'm halfway.
It's crazy. It's
So
crazy to
you-
think, Max. Like
First of all, my legs hurt today.
my legs are so sore. My legs are also rocks right now. We moved a counter for Dan this weekend, Max, and the thing was made out of cement. I'm not joking. It was a cement top, and we couldn't get it off, so we lifted it. No problem. I could lift a Volkswagen right now. I feel very strong with the legs. Don't use the back.
I've got an injury.
You do. You cut your
Yeah,
finger
I've got
over there. That was trouble.
Half the fingernail went. And I've always said this too. I've told my wife, fingers and toes are the worst.
Oh, it's the worst injury because
The
it
worst.
snags you.
The worst.
Snags you.
You know-
Imagine for a pitcher, Dan. You got a blister?
Oh yeah, you can't.
You go on the DL,
But
like it's a blister. It's nothing. It's the tiniest injury. You can't do anything for like 2 weeks.
I understand why it hurts.
Yeah.
But it hurts more than other things, which
yeah.
annoys me. Like just like getting this hangnail type thing caught on clothes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It makes me jump.
It heals faster than like a broken bone or an ACL or something. But man, it
Better
is
heal
nagging.
fast.
It is nagging.
Good thing it
that's
doesn't
for
affect
sure.
my pedaling because you will not win.
That's right. So back to the matter at hand. So we're gonna have drones in the air. One of us will be jumping in the water.
We all know
at
who.
Narragansett Beach, full under all the way, head and everything. Got to go under.
Are you just gonna take a running start and not think about it?
Are you?
No, I'm clearly in the
Okay,
driver's
we'll
seat
see.
right
So I told Dan, I said, there's 3 things that I'm scared of. Spiders are number 1. So I've already worried that I've told him this, and I'm worried that you guys might try to steal my clothes after, or like put a fake spider in my clothes. So don't do that. Don't do that. Spider's number 1. Looking fat is number 2.
We're working on that.
We're working on that. And number 3 is cold water.
Yeah.
I hated the cold tub. Like playing
like
ball.
the cold tub, though.
I hated it so much.
No,
I just was like,
that's a
can I just get in the hot tub?
You know what the best is? Contrast.
Contrast makes
Contrast
you feel
is
amazing.
good.
You're right.
Contrast is good because the cold doesn't feel as cold. If you're going from the hot water, 105 degrees or whatever it is, and into that 40-degree water, your legs are so heated, it doesn't hurt as much. So the contrast is definitely the way to go if you're going to recover. I almost got some Normatec boots for my legs.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I almost pulled the trigger on that.
Guys are using those. Athletes are using those all the time now, right? I see those all over the place.
No, they're great.
That's how people recover. Have you done it? Have you done those? Yeah, I've never done it.
Yep.
Never tried it.
They work.
So somebody's going in March 1st. Drone footage. We'll have some great footage for that.
So you're gonna
probably sell ad space.
You're gonna have to have your shirt off for that.
Well, we're gonna sell ad space. So if it's me, the back is gonna be $2,000, and I'll hashtag or at anything that you want. The chest might be more because this is getting cut up.
What goldenpalace.com? Right? It was like goldenpalace.com. The one streaker from the Super Bowl.
No, I was gonna say like the Chinese Empress Palace, which is like a Chinese restaurant, Chinese food restaurant. I'll do an ad. Like we'll find a place for that. No problem. Island Cafe Garden. They want to drop an ad on here. Go ahead. Couple grand. I'm in. Or you are. So we'll see who gets in the water.
I'm just setting the pace, buddy.
That's coming.
All I got to do is keep setting the pace.
Yeah, it's tough to beat. I'm just so excited that we're inspiring so many people to join in this fitness challenge.
I'm glad you are inspiring. I have not had one.
Well, you're not as social as I am in terms of like
very,
posting.
Very
So we got to get you out there a little bit more.
That's very true.
One other thing that was wild we didn't talk about last week is Trevor Bauer's contract. So this will be our last thing we'll touch on probably before we jump into the interview. But
no, if we're going to talk about contract, I think Watson's contract too.
Yes. Okay.
Or just the situation, just to touch on it because I think it's
signed a 4-year deal for
56
million
last year.
Yep.
Last year.
And then poof.
Now he doesn't want to play.
Doesn't want to play. Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
I was watching Ballers the other night because I'm watching Ballers while I'm riding the Peloton, and the guy, I can't remember one of the main characters, he does the same thing where he ends up wanting to be a gamer, and he's like, yeah, I'm a $100 million defensive end, but like I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to play like whatever the game was.
Tiddlywinks?
Yeah, whatever it was. So I don't know. Maybe he's made his money. Maybe he's done. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore.
No, he's upset at the organization. I
get
it, but he signed. All right, so there's sort of that Patriot regime down there with Billy O'Brien fired last year, bring in Nick Caserio. That Jack Easterby is down there, who is with New England as well. Bring in a new head coach. So there's still that New England feel down there. But if you didn't like it then, why sign the contract?
I don't know.
Why? I mean, I get
a lot's gone on,
$156 million.
Yeah.
I'm signing that contract.
A lot's gone on down there.
Care.
People are bailing.
I don't care. And here's the thing about, we've talked about this too. Baseball contracts, hockey contracts, basketball contracts. What's the one thing in common?
They're usually a lot of money if you're any good.
Correct. But the other thing,
they're
the all guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. We're not talking football. You didn't mention football. Yeah, baseball.
Difference to football.
Oh, yeah. Difference to football is guaranteed money.
Right.
So Trevor Bauer's contract is 3 years, 100 plus million. He's getting $42 million year one.
Is he worth it?
I did the math. It was $12,800 a pitch if he has 35 starts and throws 100 pitches a start, which is wild, right? So he could be worth it. But by the way, if he does not play this year, he still gets $40 million.
So that's the thing with football, right?
Yeah.
I get the fact, like, here's been the one hang up. Football contracts aren't guaranteed. That full number that they signed for it, and they have to look at, all right, what's the 3-year payout? Yep. What's the guaranteed money? His guaranteed money is $110 million. I think he had 27 million on the signing bonus. But it's not really a contract, right? Because that team can still cut you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really make a difference for him. But let's talk about like a minimum wage guy. Just making the minimum. It's probably I don't know, probably around 400,000.
Well, that's not minimum wage. That's the
No,
league minimum.
League minimum.
Minimum wage, if that was a minimum wage in the country, that would be a big number. 400.
I think everybody would be happy.
Everyone would be really happy.
The league minimum, maybe around 400.
League minimum.
400, 450. I think it was 250 when I first came in. Owners have no problems cutting those guys. So if they don't have to honor their side of it, I get why, you can see some of these guys force the hand of the owner.
Yep.
But is it right?
It's a tricky sport for it. It's a tricky sport for it because you could get hurt, bang, like that, and be out. Baseball the same way, though. It's just the players' unions.
Yeah, but Bauer's just still getting that
It's
$140
wild,
million
right?
guaranteed.
Well, Carl Pavano, I remember, signed a contract with the Yankees for like $50 million. I think he threw 3 pitches.
So
Didn't play for 4 years. I remember that was 10 years ago. So that's what happens. It's just different. So contracts are totally different between the leagues. We've had this conversation a bunch. There's the NFL needs a little revamp on the union or something. So you guys get the guaranteed cash somewhere. Is there something that's better though about the NFL contracts than the other sports?
I don't think so.
It's not money. It's not the amount of money. It's less. Well, it's
the
less
quarterback.
Games, but it's not doesn't really matter.
The quarterback money is coming into where
baseball
pitchers are, and those NBA, the top 10 in the NBA, where they're making those.
Their deals are lucrative. NBA deals are lucrative. Well, you know what?
And they don't even play hard. I'm sorry.
Hockey numbers are low.
I'm not even.
Hockey numbers are low. They're not massive numbers for hockey.
I'm not saying anything bad about an NBA player as an athlete. I think they are some of the greatest athletes on the face of the earth. LeBron James, 6'9", 6'8", whatever he is, 200 some pounds, probably could play football. Probably could play baseball.
Probably.
Just a phenomenal athlete. There's a bunch of them in the NBA. But I can't watch an NBA game for 2 reasons. One, it doesn't look like they try hard.
The music's playing. I always get confused by that.
They don't try hard. They just play offense. They don't play defense. They just want to score. And they never stop blowing the goddamn whistle.
Yeah.
There is a foul every time down the court.
Remember, so I always, when I think of basketball still, I go back to Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. And I was young then. I was super young. I'm more Jordan era. And up, when I was really young. But, Magic Johnson would drive into the lane and get destroyed.
No whistle.
And no whistle.
No whistle.
Larry Bird I used to love how Larry Bird picked on people, too. He'd be like, I'm going to shoot it from right there.
No. And you found out about that afterwards, though. You didn't know he talked so much shit.
I know. But these guys would drive in the lane and get meleeed. Now it's a guy goes in the lane and, does this and bang, guy hits his elbow. It's boop, free throws.
It is so frustrating.
So,
you can't even watch. But that is not
incredible athletes.
Incredible athletes. I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying the game for a viewer, from a viewer perspective, isn't my cup of tea.
Swallow the whistle, ref.
Yeah, a little bit. Go watch a college game. Go watch how they actually play. Because it's physical. It's not blowing a whistle every time down. They let them play.
That's right.
And by the way, those kids play a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah. I think so too.
That's why March Madness
slap the floor when they play defense.
Yes,
slap the floor, move their feet.
Bobby Hurley used to do that.
Which Wojciechowski? Wojo. We're Duke guys.
Gene.
Are we Duke guys?
I'm not a Duke guy.
We just dropped Duke's name all over the place.
But I did hate Christian Laettner.
Oh yeah, what a documentary. But that is. So he was a tough guy though.
He's a tough guy, but you watch him.
He was also a cheap shot.
You watch that thing now. Now I'm a fan.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway. We got an interview coming up with a whole new sport we're going to talk about.
This is going to be fantastic. I'm actually excited to talk
I'm excited
to
talk about different sports. Who could come? Well, I'm going to ask him this question. I'm going to say, hey, who could play from? If you guys could pick a draft from any sport, who do you bring in to play in this league?
Who's the best one?
Yeah. Do you bring?
What
is it LeBron?
Sport?
No, is it LeBron? Is it that
or you just
type of person?
Or you just want the athlete?
Yeah, or is it Danny Woodhead, who, by the way, was hilarious on our last interview? People were hammering me about him, saying there's no way he's a +2 handicap on the golf course. So there's some challenges coming his way. I can feel that coming.
I will back Woodhead. That guy can swing the club.
I watched the Instagram and I agree. I'm in his camp. I think he's a +1, 2, 3 in that range for sure.
Well, you just want to get strokes. That doesn't happen.
If I get strokes, it'll be great. It'll be a great day. So we're excited for that.
All right, so let's get to this interview from James Henderson, and then actually we're going to surprise him too.
He's going to be team of the week.
We'll take care of the team of the week, and
he doesn't know that yet. We're going to tell them in the interview.
This was episode 12, powered by Squad
Oh, did we
Locker.
not say that?
I don't think we did. I
Oh,
always
my
forget
God,
that.
I'm out of it today. We got people in the office. We're getting back to going around here, Max.
Maybe you should go out and just
You're going to see my
fire
attitude
somebody.
change. You're going to see my attitude change around here. We're going to get back to
You need a vacation.
No.
You need to ride more
just book
miles.
one. I
That's
did just
what you
book one.
need.
I did just book
That
vacation.
140 miles is sitting on your
So
head.
we'll have an episode where we are probably both out of the office on vacation.
On a bike.
So you're going to be in here. I don't know. we're gonna have to zoom into you.
Yep.
So we'll figure that part out.
All right, here's James Henderson, and then we will catch you on the next one.
That's right.
All right, we are here. I'm excited about talking with these guys about something that we don't know. You know, the Aussie Football League. We have James Henderson, the president and head coach of the North Texas Devils.
In
And
the
we also-
USAFL.
USAFL. Yes.
Yep.
And then we have Paul Barnett, which is he's a vice president and a player. So we're going to get the coaching and the player perspective. And from us talking to them just initially a little bit, they're already busting balls.
Oh,
So-
yeah, they are. So we're going to learn a lot about this sport right now because you and I are we've watched some stuff, guys.
Watch some stuff.
We're
and
a little.
the stuff they sent over was really good.
Yes.
And I thought it was in the communication, and I said it earlier. I thought it was more of a rugby thing. You know, just that's what you thought. But when looking at the clips, there's much more to this, and the abilities from soccer, basketball, football, all these different abilities come into play to create a pretty cool sport. So, you know, James, you're the president. You know, can you give us some background on the overview of the sport and really how it came to North Texas? I guess.
Yeah. How are you guys in Texas and doing this? I guess is a
How
good
you
question,
how you
right?
doing? How you doing this
So-
with the snow out there
Yeah.
right now? By the way.
Well, we're not doing too well with the snow, so we were supposed to kick off the season training last weekend, but that's all on hold for the moment. We're not used to it here in Texas. Everything's shut down.
Do you have any shovels? Because that would you know, Paul earlier said he doesn't even own gloves, so shovels would help too.
Yeah.
I got a shovel to dig a hole, but nothing to shovel snow.
Don't mess with this guy.
Yep.
Yeah, can you just give us a little background on what Aussie football is?
Yeah. Take us through it.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah, I think you guys sort of summed it up at the start a little bit by saying that it incorporates so many different elements of different sports, soccer, basketball, you name it. And I think the biggest challenge that the sport generally has in this market is exactly what you said as well, is 99% of people think it's rugby. And what I like to describe to people is, soccer and volleyball have the same shape ball, they ain't the same sport. And that's kind of the same with us, right? It's a similar shape ball. People see it. People think Australians and think of the Australian rugby team, but this is a completely different sport with a lot more dynamicy, I think, than what rugby would have. Rugby purists would hate me saying that, but it, as I said, incorporates all those different elements and is something that's really unique and something that's pretty fresh in the US at the moment.
Yeah, I watched a couple clips. You sent a perfect clip over that was 4 or 5 minutes long that gave me a good understanding of it. But by the way, while I'm watching this clip, Dan, there's 80,000 people in the stands.
Right.
I mean, the place is going crazy. So, and then I'm watching it, and it's like it's like what you said, and it's like what Dan said to kind of intro this. It seemed like there was 2 or 3 sports happening on the field at the same time, right? And you guys, you almost use some terms that are the same. Where you start, and I wrote a few of these things down, and we'll go more into like the overall story too. But I got excited because you're talking about like a jump ball to start the game, where you bounce the ball in the middle of the field, and it's like a basketball jump ball almost to kind of start. Or
Exactly.
is it after any type of score? Is that how that works?
So that's after a goal.
Yeah, okay.
So players can score goals, or they can score what we call behinds or points. It's kind of almost, people joke about a bit of a consolation goal, because if you miss the main goals and you get it through the side goal, you get a
Goes
point
through
for
the
it
outside.
anyway.
Yeah, it goes
And,
through the outside poles. I saw that. Yeah.
Exactly,
just one point.
exactly. So
1 point.
every time there's a big stoppage in play that's in the field, then they'll do one of those, bounces we call it, or a tip off of more like basketball. And then the same when a goal happens, I'll bring it back to the center, so it's not one side kicking to the other side. It sort of resets play, and both sides have an equal chance at it.
The bounce, though, I mean, you've got to hit the ball at like the perfect spot. I mean, I think, do you call it dribbling too? You're allowed to pass the ball or hand pass it or kick it, but you can also dribble. So you've got to bounce the
16
ball
yards.
once every 16 yards. But you're running ball. Paul, you are playing this sport. I'm sure James has too. How hard is it for a referee, let alone a guy running full speed, to bounce that ball in the right spot, to have it bounce back up to him. I mean, the hand-eye coordination on that has got to be incredible.
Yeah, like the referees, they're holding it like vertically and they're bouncing it, and it's hitting the one spot. But with the player, you've got, as you're saying, like you're running and you've got to bounce it. We say like every 5 strides you try and bounce it. It's like you're throwing it down in front of you like a dart, and then you get it right in the point, it'll bounce back up at you. But it's running at full speed and trying to bounce it to come back into your hands. That's a skill.
And you're and you're allowed to get hit at this point too. So there's other things going on which I would think makes it more difficult. I mean, I try and bounce a football and like throw it back, and it just goes haywire.
It's all over the place.
Chance.
And do people go like end to end? Like what do you with it? Like I guess you'd call it dribbling, right? I mean, and then also, how do you gauge? I think it's 16 yards if I remember right. When I was how does the referee gauge that? Like, there's no line that's fallen. They're just like, hey, they're basing it on strides almost, or is this like a hockey offsides thing where it's like, it was close enough? You know what I mean? Is that what it is?
I think that the umpires, we call them, or referees, they kind of monitor approximately where the guy is, and we sort of rough it out as around 15 steps, right? 14, 15 steps. So they sort of see a player run, they'll say, okay, that guy's gone around 15 yards, and you can sort of tell when someone's gone too far. I love though that we're kicking this off, and the most fascinating thing for you guys is the bounce.
No,
it's I think it's a really cool way to start a game, right? You know, it's like, and it's lacrosse. They do the what's it called when they're down like it's like a scrum.
It's not a scrum though. It's a face-off, isn't it?
Right, and then you drop the puck in hockey, and like baseball, you just throw the first pitch. In football, you're kicking it off, right? So there's like lots of different ways to do it. I thought it was an interesting thing. Do you guys not like the bounce? You trying to eliminate the bounce or something?
No, absolutely.
Does the ref ever mess it up?
It's funny. It's all time. Good. So the ref gets one shot. Now, if the ref bounces a ball and it goes to the left or to the right, they have to throw it up.
Got it.
So is this more popular than rugby in Australia?
Yeah, so the sport itself is the 4th biggest domestic sport in the world. Behind NFL, I think it's the English Premier League soccer, German, I think Premier League, and then Australian rules football. So I think average crowds are just under 50,000 for every game. And it's primarily played, or was primarily played, in the state of Victoria. So of the professional league back home, 50% of the teams are all in one state.
Wow. And ESPN picked up the sport, which had to have been some great, recognition and some publicity for you guys during the pandemic. How did that work out?
Yeah, so it used to be on ESPN. I can't remember exactly when. I mean, I was a young kid when I know it was being played over here. So a lot of Americans saw it in like sort of the 90s, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. when you probably had a few too many drinks on a Saturday night. You'll watch your strange sport on TV.
It happens.
Usually it's when you have no more. You need one bet to hit. And you're look at it that way. It's like I just missed the late night basketball game, and I'm still down. I got to pay the bookie tomorrow. What's on? Bam, you got it. Like, you guys are 12 hours, whatever the difference is. Perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly. But going back to your question, I mean, when COVID hit, the Australian Football League really wanted to find a way to keep the sport going. So it was pretty controversial, but they put players into hubs or bubbles, and they moved them all to certain states where the states went locked down for COVID. So everyone relocated for 2-3 months at a time, and they put entire teams in resort facilities in a couple of different states where they're allowed to play, and those players were not allowed to leave, those resorts, and all the staff and everyone else around it as well. So that enabled the sport to, continue. And because everyone was so thirsty for sport last year, of course, everyone started tuning in and watching Australian football. So ESPN, as you said, they picked it up. Fox Sports 1 picked it up, and there was pretty good traction from particularly Americans and other people watching it around the world. So they signed a multi-year deal, and I think it's the next 2 years, 21 and 22, it's still going to be played over here as well in the US.
Is it in the US right now? Okay, so now we're talking here, right? Most of our listeners, we are global.
When he says states, I'm trying to think the United States. Australia says states too. I got it. We're good.
Here, right now, is this a collegiate sport right now too? Did I hear something about that? Is this starting to actually be something that's involved in universities, or are we talking
more club side?
Club side, yeah. Are we talking club? Are we talking mostly pro? Are we talking youth? Like, where's the development going for you guys? And then, like, how many states is it in right now too? Where's the growth there?
So the US league called the USAFL, that's been around since 1997. So it's actually been here for a long time. It's an amateur sport, and it's actually played in 50 cities around the country right now. So there's 48 teams, us being the Devils are the newest 48th team to come into this league. As we said, it is amateur. And so a lot of the time, you're getting people who are just sort of in rec sports or social sports or things like that playing. And what we found is a lot of people who get involved in this league are Australians who are expats over in the US for a period of time. And they say, well, how do I meet other Aussies in a city? Well, I'll go play Australian football.
Got it.
The league rules, though, actually state now that every team can only be a maximum 50% Australians. And that's both to stop ring-ins getting flown over here and stacking a team with Aussies that have played their whole life, but also to build like a US foundation of players. And so we're proactively, when I say we, the whole league proactively going to other sports to form like allegiances and alliances with soccer and basketball, lacrosse, you name it, we're trying to bring people across. A lot of time from rugby as well. There is a bit of American football we're trying to bring into it too. So you really need those different skills and sort of dynamicity coming across from all these different areas to field an Australian football team. And then I think with the collegiate sort of part of things, there's been a couple of efforts in the past. I haven't been involved in any of those, but to really get into universities and colleges. And I think a few still have kind of the student social groups that might play as a bit of a fun social thing on the side, but it's not really a collegiate sport with a collegiate league at the moment.
It feels like it could be, because it feels like you could take athletes from different stuff. Sure. That's what it feels like, a game that like get a bunch of athletes, maybe they played basketball, maybe they played football, maybe they played baseball, maybe they played soccer. And they're like, hey, they're going to go not like intramural, but like club based, and like they just want to still be super active and maybe tackle some people. Right, and like have a good time, like that's what it feels like. A few
drinks afterwards.
It feels like a grab a beer after, not too many because your legs will get sore. And I'm coming to you next on this next question, Paul, because you got a Peloton shirt on. But I was going to ask first,
what position does Paul play?
I don't want to know. Let's see. Well, let's hear his output numbers first, and then I'm going to come to this next question. So, Paul, 30-minute ride on Peloton. You're following us now. We noticed that you follow us on Peloton. # past our prime on the Peloton, right, Max? Okay. What's your numbers on a 30-minute? 30-minute on output. What are you getting to? Because you're a totally different athlete here. We got a baseball player. We got a football player. New sport. Fresh sport here. What are you putting up?
I like to hit about 400 on a 30-minute.
All right.
Like my benchmark I go for is I have to beat 100 per 10 minutes. So like I break it down by okay, 10 minutes, I need to go over the 100 kind of mark. So I think if I get below 400 on 30 minutes, I'm disappointed.
Okay, come dance with the big boys.
He's up with
in
you.
There. He's in there. I'm pushing those numbers no doubt. For sure. He's got the sweatshirt on though, so he must have done like 500 rides or something. I feel like that's a freebie that they give you. They send you that when that happens. But I was going to say, when you build the perfect athlete for this sport, I know that you guys talk about it's lots of different sizes and lots of different pieces. I saw that on some of your marketing material. It's like you've got a guy that might be 5'6", or a girl that might be smaller. You've got somebody who's 6'2". You've got somebody who's 7 feet, right, on some of these teams. So what, if you could go build the perfect athlete, is it based on position? Right? Or is it based on, if you gave me 25 of this person, I'm going to beat you? Right? Like, what do you think it is,
25 Pauls and you win the championship.
25 Pauls, or is it, do you need some guys that can jump? Like it seems like there's some aspect to it it's like that, but like who do you go find?
A team really goes from, I'd say, 5'9" to 6'8", 6'9" kind of range. So that's the kind of thing. Every position is a different kind of size.
Got it.
I remember I'm 6 foot on a good day. And I remember I went and played in a game in Denver in a competition, and I played against this guy about 6'5". He was an ex-lineman for the Denver Broncos. He dropped like 70 pounds after retiring, came down and wanted to play AFL. And I'm up against marking him. He's going to beat me every day, jumping, catching the ball in the air. But yeah, I've got the little push to get away from him to try and get the space.
Yeah, he's not catching you.
Dan, by the way, Dan, is it you?
What? No,
was it you? Dan was a lineman for the Denver Broncos for 2 years
there, yeah.
So
but it's definitely not me.
It was not Dan.
I've
seen Dan jump. It's not, Dan doesn't jump that well. So
I don't jump anymore.
Well, you don't jump at all, I think is what.
No. Why would you want to do that?
No. So
you normally see like the bigger guys will be, James, stop me if you disagree, like you're the coach of this team. Like the middle guys who go up for the bounces, and we call them the rucksmans, the ones that jump up like the basketball style. They're normally the tall guys. And then you'd have people in the full forward. They're the people you want to kind of kick the ball to, who's going to catch the ball to go for a goal. Like we've got in the AFL over in Australia, you've got Mason Cox. He's a guy from Texas. He's like the only major American who's playing the sport right now. He's 6'10". He used to be a basketball player. I can't remember where he played, but he was a
Oklahoma Uni.
There you go. But yeah, his two positions are in the middle of the field, or as a ruckman, or he goes and plays full forward. So he's catching the ball to then shoot for goal. Mostly the smaller guys, they're the runners. They're the ones that are running around trying to find that open space to try and kick it to the big guys.
So we're out. We're out there. We don't like to run.
I think
Can you ride the bike there?
I think run. How hard is it? I mean, you guys are playing on an oval field too, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know that many oval fields in the U.S. Is that a problem?
We got to get into this because, explain the oval field thing a little bit.
The cricket, right? Field.
To touch on that, actually, like when I'm going back to the way AFL started. So back in the 1890s, AFL started for cricketers to basically get fit during their off season. Mm-hmm. So it's like opposite kind of season. So they've gone, okay, here's a cricket field. How can we get our guys to keep on running through the off season? So that's kind of one of the reasons why AFL kind of started and brought those players in. So the field is, it's huge. It's a cricket-sized field. So it's like 150 to 200 yards, I think, goal to goal. Mm-hmm. So like nearly double the size of an NFL field. Mm-hmm. And then width as well is like 120 to 140. So they're big fields. Each, like, a fit guy will probably run in about 20K a game.
Oh, jeez.
Too much.
There's a periods. But yeah, it's a big field.
That's a big field. That's a lot of running. I
think I was going to add on there. I think one of the things that Paul just mentioned was some ranges for the field. So that's the interesting part about the game. Every field, even in the pro league, is different size. And so there's some dimensions within a field that need to be the same size, like the 50-meter arc from the goal line and the size of the center square and the distance between the center circle and the center square and so on and so on. But the actual fields themselves can be different lengths and different widths. Okay. And so some teams get used to playing right out far on the wings on the outsides, and some teams are much more corridor, fast running teams. So you can have a pretty distinctive home advantage, not just because you're a crowd, but because of the way that you're used to training on that field.
But you can't put that field, your field, inside a 110-yard football field. You know what I mean?
Like
you can't play inside of a stadium, right?
No, they're all our fields are all inside stadiums because they're cricket in summer and football in winter, Australian football in winter. Yeah. But over here you can't do that.
Could you play in a baseball stadium? I mean, that's more of a circular. Is it big enough? I don't even know.
Not really. So I think going back to your question, like that is probably the biggest problem that we face here in the US is trying to find fields to play on. And I think a lot of the teams around this country will use whatever they can find to train, whether that be soccer fields, rugby fields, baseball fields, whatever it is. And then when it comes to game day, we kind of rent specific facilities that will fit the size of our fields on it, and then we'll get the lines drawn out and do it all for those games themselves. Some clubs, are playing just in local parks. The best team in our competition over the last several years is Austin. They've won 5 of the last 6 national championships, and they play down at Zilker Park, if you're familiar with that, just outside of downtown. And they just literally put cones out around the park and say, this is where we're training.
I mean, it's different for Dan. He's played in the same size field all the time, right? 100-yard football field, your end zones, same width.
Well, I mean,
I'm used to different fields. Yeah, baseball, think about it, the outfield. It's different in every stadium.
You're on the same mound.
Same mound,
dimensions.
same mount. Yeah, but they're saying the same thing, from the 50-yard line.
It can be different on the outside.
But the outside, right, you got the Green Monster and Fenway. You got different dimensions all over. So it's not as uncommon, I think, as I was initially thinking, like different fields, different sheet of ice once in a while.
But it's
in the
bigger,
NHL, you got Olympic
field.
and that. So, but it's definitely a bigger field for sure. So
you know what the cool thing is, too, about this? You have men's and women's, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the men's has been around, as Paul said, since the late 1800s. The women's competition in Australia kind of went semi-pro just 5 years, in its 5th year now.
Mm-hmm. Is there different rules?
That's a good question, actually. I think the rules are much the same. There's a different sized ball they play with, so the women's ball is just slightly smaller.
Right.
Other than that, I think the rules are essentially the same. And I sound a little bit unsure on that because I've been living over here for quite a while, so I watched the women's game, but I haven't really got into the rules of the women's game and see if there is any differences like that. But I mean, they go at it just as hard as the guys do. And, watching one of the highlights last week, I mean, those girls give it to each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. These guys tackle hard.
Yeah.
Now, you can tackle between the shoulders and the knees, right? So there's no real, I mean, you're not going in super low, right? I'm guessing you're not really head hunting, right? But I was watching some of the hits. I mean, they're real hits. You guys are wrapping up and you're hitting hard, but no helmets.
No, yeah. Do you look at football players and be like, you guys are a bunch of pigs and start wearing a helmet?
Yeah, I say that to Dan all the time. Like, you got a helmet to protect that noggin.
You're actually wearing a weapon on your head.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are actually you guys should actually come to more football camps and teach kids how to tackle. Because that's the one thing they say. Get your face up, keep it out of there, and if you take the helmet off, that's a way of teaching the correct way of tackling.
Exactly. Yeah, it's shoulders and hips, so it's actually even a smaller area than
hips.
shoulders and knees.
Not even knees.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just the torso, and there is a whole tackling technique. So I mean, there's a lot of videos on YouTube guys can watch, but you can tackle someone, but in that area, wrap them up, and you want to kind of sling them to the ground as quick as you can, and it's a whole different way of doing that. The other thing with the big hits, though, is it's almost like a block in a sense in American football, where if somebody's within several yards of the ball and you want to protect your own player, you can go in with a hip and shoulder charge, whatever you call it, as well, and we call it a shepherd, and you can knock those guys off, so you can protect your own player.
No blindsiding though, right? They've got to see you coming, or you can blindside too. Oh man,
you can blindside guys.
You can't blindside in football anymore. Yeah.
If somebody's head's down because they're trying to pick up a ball and you hit them above the shoulder height because you hit them with your shoulder, then obviously that's a penalty and you can get in trouble for that. But if somebody's running and you hit them from the side and they didn't know you were there, bad luck for them.
Paul, I've seen one of these highlights. I don't know if it was you or not, but when they kick the ball down, I guess when they're trying to mark it, right? They kick it down the field. There are guys jumping on the top of other people's shoulders.
It's called the springboard.
Springboard.
I read about
They're
this.
springboarding.
It looks dangerous.
Catching the ball. I don't know if my shoulders or my wrist or whatever's there's something that's gonna break.
Well, does this happen a lot, or did I just watch like a highlight tape that had all springboards? Because that seems like a common play. And I feel like that is tough to do because these people they're running down like they're putting their cleat on the back of somebody else and like launching up in the air. Does that happen all the time? Or is that like a highlight reel thing?
We call it a specky. So you basically you're jumping up and you want to get your kind of knees into their shoulders.
Yeah.
And you're on top and you're going for the mark.
That's a hell of a vertical.
Yeah, that's tough.
I'm not that brave, so I wouldn't go for that because falling from that height, that's what it is. But yeah, in the big games in Australia, it happens all the time. It's such a hard thing to do because that timing. Because if you time it a little bit late and you don't catch the ball, it's a free kick for the other team. Mm-hmm. So you basically got to be showing you're going for the ball and you're going to try and get it. Otherwise, you're kneeing some guy in the back.
If you catch it though, it's a free kick for you, right? If you catch it on a springboard type kick, you come down with it, then it's a free kick. So if you're 30 yards out or whatever, you're just pumping it right through the uprights. I'm assuming, right?
As soon as you catch the ball, it's basically game's paused. You get a certain period of time to get away and get the ball away from you. No one can touch you during that time. You want to take that mark and then look for the next play and pass it on.
Now, the other thing was passing the ball. Because you can't just, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't just pass the ball to somebody. You hit it, right? You hit the ball to somebody, punch it.
Yeah.
Almost like volleyball. Like you're almost like setting it, but you're pumping it to them. Now, like how far can you hit that thing? Like how far can you punch the ball, to somebody? Is that, or would you rather punch it or would you rather kick it to somebody? I feel like there's a lot of skills that you have to have.
I feel like that's situational football, and you know, it's just going to decide what's the best way to get him the ball.
Yeah, what's the best way?
Yeah.
That depends on the play, guys. So a punch of the ball doesn't. So if a guy catches a punch, it's not a stop in play. So if you kick it to somebody and they catch it, then you kind of get your free kick. Although a lot of guys will play on to keep the game going fast. You want to punch the ball. We call it a hand pass. You want to hand pass the ball when it's tight in play, or you want to be real quick and sort of snap it off. So that can be 1 yard out to 25 yards for the guys who can really hit it hard. But when you're kicking the ball, you have to kick it a minimum 15 yards for it to be a catch. Okay. Mm-hmm. So kicking's more of a longer distance sort of thing, and there's a lot of variability in the way that you can kick it. The ball can't hit the ground as well to make it a catch. So if you pick it up off the ground, it's a run on play. Whereas when you hand pass it, some guys might want to hand pass it to somebody on the full, or hand pass it along the ground, or a whole bunch of different hand pass techniques.
That's fair. James, you're the head coach, and just take away that this guy probably knows nothing about the rules of this game, probably hasn't played it. From the mainstream sports right now, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, whatever sport you want to pick, whatever athlete you want to pick, is there a guy that just says, that's who the body type that I want, the skill set, like he would be a good
That's
AFL
what I was getting
player.
to earlier with like the perfect body, but put it to an actual person. Who do you want to go draft right now? You get the first pick in the draft, and that person's going to leave their sport.
Yes.
Who do you go grab?
That's a good question.
Can't be Dan or I.
See, I love asking good questions. That makes me feel better.
Yeah,
it's a good
you
day.
stumped me there a little bit. It's kind of what Paul said before. Like you play positional football, and so when you're going for somebody that if you need a ruckman, you can get a LeBron James in there. I mean, by all means, do that.
Yeah. We thought this might be a LeBron thing. Yep.
It could be, but if you then want somebody who's going to be quick and nimble and run around, I mean, you might be going for a Ronaldo or something. So it's completely different. Really depending on what each team needs. So
Ronaldo would be more of a forward offensive player, and LeBron would be that defensive guy. He's taking the tip off.
I'd put LeBron in the ruck or down forward, and I'd put Ronaldo on the ball in the midfield.
Now, if you took a team with just our guests that we've had on this show, we're putting a pretty good team on the field. Me, you, Danny Woodhead, Matt Castle, Brandon Barnes, Ryan Reed.
Smart players.
We might have put a team. We might have put a team together, guys. Are you nervous?
I'm a fan.
Are you nervous?
I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Just watching the stuff. I actually can't wait to catch a game on TV and learn more about it.
Absolutely.
This is really a cool sport.
Absolutely. So what's next, guys? When does your season actually start? I think that's the next thing. Like what? And then where do we go watch it?
When the snow's gone.
And we're in Rhode Island, right? But like, where would I see this? If I was in the Northeast, like, how does this all work for you with like the season and everything starting?
In Australia, the season's actually starting in 2 weeks, I think, or 2 or 3 weeks. So that's going to be live on TV. Like James is saying, it's going to be on ESPN or Fox Sports. So you can watch it on that. Their season then goes all the way through. I think they play 22 games in total. So each team plays 22, and it goes through to the end of September where they have the finals. And then they have the grand final, which is 100,000 people kind of watching the thing. Over in America, due to what's going on with COVID, our season was meant to start in March, April, but we've now just been delayed. Seeing what's going on with the USAFL, and they keep pushing it back a little bit. But we're as James was saying, we're hoping to start training last week. And then we're going forward from that. And then we'll hopefully, with the COVID laws, we can be playing against local teams, so other Texas teams, and kind of get those kind of games going. And then hopefully we'll have a national competition in the October, November kind of time. For you guys, get on TV and start watching some of these games. Amazon Prime have got a big documentary coming out just about AFL, like they had. It's called Making the Mark or something like that. They had one on the Cowboys a few years ago, and then Tottenham Hotspur Football Club last year, Man City. So they're going to do that based on the sport as well. So that's a great thing for a person just trying to get into the sport and learn a bit more about the background of the sport. For you guys, I know that James, is there a team up in Rhode Island or in Boston area?
There's a Boston team. There's a New York team as well. They're probably the two closest teams to you guys.
Okay.
We must try out. We must try out.
That's doable. I like it. Hey, Paul, one last question for me. If you guys win the championship, right? What color Gatorade are you dousing James with?
Our Gatorade. This is one of our questions, guys. So, like, favorite color Gatorade. So, what's in the cooler, and then what do you got to dump on his head? So, what do we got from the originals? By the way, none of this new stuff.
Yeah, no G2, no Zero. We're just the original good sugar-loaded
They might not
flavors.
know the originals.
Yeah, the originals, the red, yellow, and orange.
Yeah,
There you go.
You got it.
Yep.
So the red's the best one out of the originals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
yeah,
another one.
We'll have to go for the red.
I love
Okay,
it.
so they're dumping red.
I love it.
We also, guys, we're Squad Locker. That's what we do here. This is the side gig, I guess you could say, our podcast thing that we have here, Past Our Prime. Follow it on Instagram, Past Our Prime Show. But you guys are Team of the Week. So we got a $500 coupon code to use in the store for the North Texas Devils. You guys got it. Grab some stuff. Grab some gear for some of the team members, for some of the coaching staff.
That's awesome.
Whatever you need to. So we'll shoot that over to you. We got an account executive that you guys have had that I know you like working with. So shoot it your way. So you guys are the Team of the Week. This was fun. I learned a ton.
this was
By the way,
great.
are you guys impressed with how much we knew about this? Like, I feel like we knew a little bit more than we thought. Like, we knew some of the things.
I'm not going to lie. You guys did some homework. I am impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So hey, we know what
we
we're
take
doing.
some things seriously.
We do.
And Paul, hey, we're in the Peloton Challenge right now. Miles, I have
Yes.
640 in the month of February. He has 502. So
510.
no,
But
502.
was it 502?
I think I'm 543 or
By the way,
643.
a
too.
normal month, people try to do like 200 miles. So you can see where our minds go. We are go-getters. So we're going to be in the thousands before this thing is over this month.
I saw you guys are trying to do. Is it a weight loss challenge? Is that part of your weight loss challenge? The
It's
Peloton
just
bit?
anything that we can compete on. It could be drinking beer. We're going to compete on. So just luckily this one has to do with physical fitness.
this one helps.
So
This
we're
one
going to be
helps
shredding
everybody.
it off with this one.
We'll have to get you guys to come and do a goal kick, Australian football goal kicking
God,
challenge.
I would
I like
That'd be
that.
doable.
I like that.
I would like to. I'd tear my hamstring.
Yeah,
though. I'm pretty sure that would go.
That's an ankle injury. I'm in spry shape, so I'll probably be great at it. But I'm ready to go. I got Dan beat there.
But yeah, you guys got two more fans of the AFL. That's
Absolutely.
for sure, and I can't wait
Absolutely.
to check it out.
All right, guys. Appreciate
Love
it.
guys. Thank you.
All right, man. Good luck.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good one, fellas. See ya.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.